Good morning. Um, it's my orange cup today. It's raining today. So, a little thought to encourage you today from the Word of God that encouraged me. I don't want to keep all this good stuff to myself. I'm going through Daniel in my devotions in the morning. Actually, I go through Psalms. I go through a couple verses of Psalms, and then I'm going through a book of the Bible, and I'm going through the book of Daniel. I think Daniel is very relevant to us because Daniel lived in Babylon, and in a lot of ways our culture, especially in my areas, is very much like Babylon. And I want to watch his witness and his friends' witness and how they handled just unreasonable people or pagan kind of thinking. There's a lot in there, but something I noticed today, which is very interesting, is in Daniel chapter 3. Yeah, Daniel 3. Some people came to Nebuchadnezzar and said, hey, there's these Jews, and they're not bowing down when he had set up a big statue, an idol, and then they make music, and when you heard the music, you were supposed to bow down and worship this idol. Well, what happened was these certain Chaldeans from that area came forward and said to the king in verse 8, O king, live forever. You made this decree. But they said in verse 12, there are certain Jews whom you set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, which they were actually jealous about their position. These men have not paid due regard to you. They don't serve your gods or worship the gold image which you have set up. And it says in verse 13 that Nebuchadnezzar, in rage and fury, gave the command to bring these three guys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and they brought the men before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said to them, is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the gold image which I have set up? Like, you're not with the program. You're not doing what the world does. You're not responding the same way everybody else is to the things that I've decided is important and deserves reverence and respect. And so then he says to them, look, if you're ready at the time that you hear the sound of the horn, the flute, the harp, the lyre, and psaltery, in symphony with all kinds of music, and you fall down and you worship the image that I've made, he says, good. But if you do not worship, you shall be cast immediately into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So he's telling them, look, I'm going to give you a chance now. Even if you've messed up in the past, I'm going to make them, play their music, and it's your opportunity to pay reverence to what I think deserves homage. If you don't do it, then immediately I'm going to cast you in. So he sets this up, gives them a chance. But then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in verse 16 said, oh, Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If that is the case, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us from your hand, O king. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we do not serve your gods, nor will we worship the gold image which you have set up. Well, you kind of know what happened after that. They commanded the furnace to be heated up, and they threw them in. But what's interesting here is the king set a precedent. He said, look, I'm going to give you an opportunity I'm going to play this, and I'm going to see if you do what you're supposed to do. If you don't do it, I'm going to throw you into the fiery furnace. Well, if you know what happened, that never happened. They didn't command the music to play. They weren't given an opportunity. They just stated with their mouths in front of Nebuchadnezzar with such conviction and a purpose of heart that he didn't even have to give them the opportunity. He knew by their words and by their faith and by their passionate conviction, they were not going to bow down when he gave them that chance. So he didn't give them a chance. He didn't put them in that position. I want to encourage us to be people like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that we are so fully convicted of what our boundaries are that we don't even have to face those boundaries. People already know what we would choose. You single girls, you need to let men know your boundary with sexual purity so that you end up not even being put in that position because you're so vocal and so passionate and thoroughly believable that that is your conviction. At your job, if you're in a situation, no, I will not lie on a contract. I will not falsify documents. Then people won't put you in that position because they do believe that by the way you speak with an absolute conviction, and they know where you stand. So many times we can prevent being put in a place where we're tested by speaking out that we would never compromise in those situations. Then no one asks us. If we say, no, I do not drink. If you've been convicted, you shouldn't drink. If you say that before someone offers you wine or a beer, they won't ask you. See, the king never did put that opportunity before them to bow. He threw them straight into the fiery furnace because he knew where they stood by how vocal, passionate, and convicted they were that they would not bow down to that image. He didn't have to give them an opportunity. He could pick up by the way they were speaking, their confidence, their loyalty to God, that they were never put in that position to be tested. Are you vocal about your boundaries of what you will and will not do? Do you know how to stand up and say, no, that's sin. I love the Lord. I'm not going to do it. Or, wow, if I'm ever put in this position, I would definitely do this. Have you thought through things and spoke your convictions before you're ever put in those situations? The time to develop convictions is not when you're placed in a position to demonstrate conviction. You have to develop conviction before that. And I believe that God will deliver us from a lot of opportunities or temptations, because we've already said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going there. I don't date non-believers. I love non-believers. I don't date non-believers. Or no, I wouldn't do that because that's wrong. So the person will never ask us to do it because they already know. Well, I mean, some people will anyway, but we will definitely lessen the probability of being put in those positions if we are verbal. Lord, thank you for this time. Thank you for this truth. May it speak to us, and may we just glorify you. Sorry, that was my dog. Someone's at the door. God bless. Bye-bye.